Typically speaking, if you look at your situation 1 year ago or your mentality, you would think to yourself, wow, I was stupid, or wow, I've made some change. And that's usually the case, right? But does that mean that the older is wiser? No, not necessarily. Matter of fact, what about if you looked at some of the times in the past where you were highly productive, where you were highly motivated? In times where you thought to yourself, wow, I am right now in these 3 months, 2 months, 1 week, making incredible progress. Would that person be worse than you are now? What exactly are we talking about? The progress of the steps that you've taken, or the mentality? For if we're talking about wisdom, I don't think much matters besides from what is inside. And I'm not talking about the whole, oh, well, a person could get lucky and get rich or whatever. I want to just bring up the big challenges, the big problems that they can come with taking advice from the elderly. In my track record, I do have a little bit of a problem with overthinking. But there's 4 things that I've put together that you should mostly look out for, because not all elderly advice is wrong. Of course, that would be the most arrogant and stupid thing that I could say. But rather, how can you distinguish between the good and the bad, and whether it is good or bad in the first place? It is better to understand something if you relate it back to you. So as I go through these examples, try to think about, I don't know, maybe a teacher, maybe a mentor, a parent, familiar, anybody that was older than you, your older brother maybe, that gave you advice that, simply wasn't right, and match it up to the things that I'm about to speak about. Number 1, abandoned dreams. Now, it is no surprise that most of us have some sort of ego of main character syndrome and all that stuff. That's completely natural. And you may feel like you have some mission to save the world. But as you speak about it with others and you start taking action, you get discouraged very quickly. A lot of people say, stop it. I had the same thing when I was in my 20s or my 30s or my 10s, right? But I gave up. I realized that that's not what life is, and that's not what, you're not the chosen one, neither am I. We're all just ordinary people. It's not for us to make a change, right? It's big hater talk. What they are saying is completely true in their life, and it's true, when you believe it. Now, I'm not saying that you are the one or whatever, but I'm saying that if there's something that you want to do, we shouldn't let anybody talk us out of it. A lot of people will project their own doubts on you. And when you tell them that there's something that you want to do, you won't give up no matter what, 2 things will go through their brain. Number 1 would be, wow, look at this young person. They are doing the same thing that I was doing, but I gave up. I am motivated to try once again. I will not give up. Or number 2, kind of the opposite. They are scared that you are going to shed light on their own lack, that you're going to shed light on the fact that they gave up. And so they try to bring you down and make you give up before you even start. Because what if you made it? That would mean that they could have made it too, but they weren't brave enough to do it. So that's 1, abandoned dreams. If somebody talks you out of doing the thing that you want to do, don't listen to it. Bad advice. Number 2, bias from bad experience. Again, the first example was more for career and etc. This is more for anything in general. You may say to them, hey, I've met this Christian girl recently and, I'm thinking of getting in a relationship, but she says that she only wants to marry religious people. And I looked at the values and all that and I thought, you know what, they kind of resonate with me. You may say to your father. And your father may say to you, who is separated and cannot keep a relationship, don't do that, man. I've been there, I've done that. They're gonna wash your brain and make you do all sorts of things. It's more like a cult, blah, blah, blah. And they're gonna start talking about a lot of bad things with bias from their own experience. And of course, you went there in their experience, in their shoes, to see what even happened. You hear one side of the story without hearing the second, and you may be fearful, you may step back. You may in fact not realize that your father may just have been a little Mongol and not have been very educated or very whatever, and was very rude and was just a kind of player and not a virtuous man like you may be striving to be. I know this is very specific. I am sorry, I am definitely not projecting. No, I'm kidding, I'm not. Number 3, my favorite. What not to do versus what to do. Now, a lot of people, especially, people that are in our family, will want to tell us what we should do. You can listen to this advice, but you must know this person well. and you must realize whether this person can tell you what to do or what not to do. For example, maybe your older brother or your older sister or your mom or your dad or whoever says to you, you need to start working early and start working a lot and put a lot of savings aside and not go out to party or whatever, because otherwise you're gonna end up broke. And then you look at their life, and that's exactly what they did. They went broke, and they think that it was because they didn't save up. And now they are telling you what you should do, but it's not something that they done, therefore you should not listen to them. But what if his life was like that? What if he told you the same advice and he lived his life in the same way and it worked out fine for him, it worked out well? Well, you could listen to that advice, and this can be translated to any other advice. Look at the edges, look at the specifics. Was there luck involved in the person that gave me advice in their life, right? Or was it all just a format that they followed and that worked out well, that could work out well for me potentially? Well, look at things and you have knowledge of the advice and of what could happen, so decide upon that. And there's another side to the whole what not to do versus what to do. If a person is a bad example, like everything they did was wrong, and maybe now they repent and stuff, but just everything they did in life was wrong, they were a complete scumbag the whole time. Now they are somebody, again, who's in your family, right? So that wants the best for you, that's not trying to get something from you, they want you to thrive. They may give you advice on things to not do, but they have no idea what they should do. They can speculate. They made a mistake, right? Oh, maybe I should have pursued this relationship, but I gave up. Well, we never know. You know, the only one that knows everything is the creator. So you can't say, oh, if I took the left instead of the right, it would have been less bad. Maybe it would have been even worse than the worst. But you know, we don't know. What you can say though is you can think to yourself, okay, this is what they did and it went wrong. They can teach me what not to do because they did everything wrong, but they can't teach me what to do. And by no means should you shame a person because of their life. By no means should you say, you're nobody to give me advice. But rather listen to them, know that they're, actually looking out for you. So be thankful. Be thankful that somebody is willing to give you advice. That means that they're willing to give you their own life wisdom in order for you to learn something. Even if they're not good at it, be thankful. You don't have to make them explain themselves. You don't have to make them feel bad. If you don't like the advice, just don't apply it. The final one should be short because it's just pathetic. Some people, they have this feeling of superiority and they look down on the young. These younglings nowadays, whatever, like they accomplish something, arrogance. It's like people on the online saying, kids, whatever. It's like, bro, what advice could a hater give you? Nothing. Just to have more hatred and to bear more hatred in the world. No advice good from those kind of people. Do not listen to them. Do not give them your time or your energy. Now, to wrap things up, and not kind of what you signed up for when you clicked on this video, what if there was one thing that could make your life, one kind of piece of advice, ironic, that could change your life for the best, now, today? Well, I have watched many hero stories, animes, films, series, and there is anything that heroes have the most in common. It is their innocence and honesty, their devoutness to the cause, their absolute freedom of necessity from everybody else's justification or approval or whatever, but complete openness into getting that thing that they want to get. Of course, innocence not to be mixed with naivety. If somebody's trying to take advantage of them and their power and whatever, they will not let it happen, of course. But rather having a cause in which you spend every ounce of your vital energy to accomplish. Having an ideal that you're chasing after, and your joy won't come from reaching it, but rather living in such a manner. Therefore, your motivation will be everlasting, and your joy as well. I hope you liked the video. Join our Discord. We've made it, and we're hoping that we can make it together a space where we all grow together. We have more positivity, more love. Me and other people are on it quite often as to ensure that there's no bad people that join. So if you're a bad person, stay away. But if you want the better for yourself and for others, then you're welcome with open arms. Strive to be 1% better every day, and much love. Quick reminder to fix your posture and take deep breaths into your diaphragm from your nose.